The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about ways to improve the pool skimming of your pool, and that's by making the skimmer work more effectively, and I'll cover some products that will make the pool surface skimming easier for you. And if you're having problems with a lot of debris on your surface, this podcast is definitely for you. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro. I think I'll start with a tip if you're going to use a leaf rake to skim the pool. The best thing you can do before you start to skim the pool is to get a little bit of soap and water and put it in a spray bottle or a squirt bottle. And you probably want to do maybe 1 part dish soap or pool tile soap, whichever you want to use. I like using Dawn or my Aero tile soap, whichever I have on hand. And you want to spray the surface, and this will actually move all the leaf debris over to the side of the pool. It also helps collect the small particles that are on top and kind of clump them together, making skimming the pool easier. So if you are using a leaf rake, and just to clarify, a leaf rake is the tool that you're going to use on your pool pole that has a net. It's not the leaf skimmer, which is like a flat kind of thing that you can use to clean the surface. You see it in a lot of movies, and it's not what pool pros use. We use a leaf rake, and that's a device that has a bag on it, and you use this to get the leaves. And there's different fine mesh leaf rakes, and you can get a really fine one if you have a lot of particle debris on your surface. So just be aware that all leaf rakes are not created equally, and if you wanted to get like a sand silt type one, it's really good for surfaces where there's a lot of fine particle debris. But for most pools, a standard leaf rake work perfectly fine. If you spray some soap on there or tile soap, you really see a big difference with the surface cleaning, and you also can see the bottom of the pool much more clear with a little bit of soap on there to cut down some of the glare from the sun. And so basically, one of the most effective ways to clean the pool surface is with a leaf rake, and you manually walking around the pool and cleaning the pool. Now this, of course, can be time consuming, and sometimes it's more effective to have your pool skimmer working properly. I think there's a few things to have in place so that the pool surface will actually be skimmed by itself. One of the first things is to make sure that, of course, the filter is clean. And if you have a variable speed pump, make sure that you have it set for an RPM or a speed that's going to get the water actually circulating in the pool. If you have your pump set at 1800 RPMs or 2000 RPMs, there may not be enough return jets going, pressure from the return jets, I should say, that will push the debris into the skimmer. So this is an important factor with the VS pump, that sometimes you're going to need a medium to high speed to really get the water moving on the surface and push the debris towards the skimmer. There's also how you have the return jets positioned. Now, there's a lot of debate on the best way to position the return jets. I personally like having the return jets so that the debris gets pointed into the skimmer eventually. So if you have 3 return jets, you want them, and hopefully they have elbows where you can adjust them. You want to point the jet so that the debris is kind of going in a circular motion towards the skimmer. So if your skimmer's on your deep end, you would want the pool jets at some point pointing towards the deep end so that the debris can be pushed into the skimmer. Now sometimes builders will put return jets kind of haphazardly. They'll just put them wherever. But technically they should be in a pattern so that you can actually make the debris go in a circular pattern into the skimmer or push it towards the skimmer itself. Your skimmer should also have an operating weir gate. If you look at your skimmer from the front, you should see a white flap kind of device in there. That's called a weir gate. And this actually does help pull some water in or accelerate the water as it goes towards the skimmer. And the weir gate serves a dual purpose. When the pool turns off, the weir gate will float up because there's foam in there and close off the skimmer so that the debris won't fall back into the pool. If you have a pool on your service account where there's all this leaf debris in the deep end by the skimmer, chances are the weir gate is not closing when the pool turns off, and then debris kind of floats out and it sinks to the bottom of the pool. So make sure the weir gate is functioning. They sell replacement weir gates. You can buy them and they snap in to the skimmer. Basically, the first thing the weir gate does is it creates a little bit more turbulence in front of the skimmer. So if there's some debris heading towards it, the weir gate should accelerate the water enough to pull it into the skimmer and thereby trapping it in the basket. When the pool turns off, the weir gate closes and the debris stays in the basket. It's a pretty simple design and it's been around for ages. And this is one way that the debris gets pulled into the skimmer. Now there are certain pool skimmers that don't have a weir gate. The one that comes to mind is the Hayward skimmer. So to know what skimmer you have, look at the lid of the skimmer and you'll see a logo on top. And sometimes you'll see the writing of the brand. So it's either going to be a Pentair, Hayward, Waterway. There's some older ones that you may see that you don't recognize. But typically it's going to be a major brand skimmer. Now Hayward has a skimmer with a special basket with a floating weir. And I find this to be a really effective skimmer. So if you're having a pool built, I would say that the Hayward skimmer is really effective, especially with the floating weir. The only problem is if it does get really full of debris, it's not as effective. But I found this to be one of the best skimmers and the best skimmer designs out there. And that's the Hayward skimmer with the B37 basket with the B38 floating weir. Now, if you do have a Hayward skimmer and you have a large B37 basket, it's pretty big. You'll know the difference right away. But of course, check the lid of the skimmer to verify the brand. But if you have the Hayward skimmer without the B38 float, it's not going to work effectively. So you need the B38 float with the B37 skimmer basket. And you'll find this to be a very effective skimmer in pulling in debris. Now, if you don't have the Hayward skimmer, your skimmer should have a weir gate in front so that helps pull the debris in. One device I really liked, which I think they discontinued, was the Skim Doctor 2.0. And this was a device you would put on your standard skimmer basket. And it would kind of replicate the Hayward B37 and B38 weir. It would pull the debris in really nicely. But I think they replaced it with what they're calling the Skim Doctor 3.0. And this is not as effective as the 2.0 version that they had on the market. I'm not sure why they discontinued it. It could have been maybe a parts problem because there were some parts that went with that particular Skim Doctor 2.0. The 3.0 looks just like something you put on top of the basket. It doesn't look quite as effective, so I can't recommend it because they changed the design, and unfortunately the Skim Doctor 2.0 is no longer available, and the 3.0 doesn't look quite as effective as a 2.0. But if you have a working weir door, you should be able to have enough pull to bring the debris in. Now, if you have a variable speed pump, I did mention the speed is important. This is something you're going to have to sacrifice sometimes, your energy savings versus the pool cleanliness, the look of the pool. So if you do need to have a higher speed to pull the debris in, I would set a medium to high speed for at least 3 or 4 hours a day. And in the times when you have a lot of debris falling into the pool, that would be the fall season in most cases. And you would want to have enough speed so that enough debris gets pulled in there. Otherwise, it'll fall to the bottom of the pool or just won't move anywhere in the pool. Just won't look very clean at that point. So maybe a speed of 2600 RPMs or up to 3100 RPMs to kind of get the stuff moving towards the skimmer of the pool. You can spend some money on some aftermarket products to help with the skimming. I think one of the biggest would be a solar surface skimmer. Now, there are a lot of them on the market now. There used to be just a Solar Breeze. Well, actually, there were several at the beginning. They had the Skim Devil, the Solar Breeze, and they had a new Solar Breeze version. And then Solar Breeze made the aerial cleaner, which was a weird colored one. And they kind of changed the design, and it really wasn't as effective, I thought, as the original Solar Breeze was. But it's one of those things where I think that company no longer is producing the product. They have a lot of competition in the market. And the Beta is a really good model. It's solid. It'll work effectively for 1 or 2 seasons. And it's something that has modular parts. You can replace it. And that's actually the name of the product. It's BETTA, the Beta. I call it the Beta. And they also have discovered that if you use a pool noodle cut to fit into the skimmer, because one of the drawbacks with these solar surface cleaners is that they will get pulled into the skimmer when the skimmer is operating, because they just don't have enough power to back out of the skimmer. So they do have one version I saw on Amazon where they sell it with these pool floats, and basically it's a noodle that is cut that you can put into the front of the skimmer. So you would put one or two of these in front of the skimmer, and this will prevent it from being pulled in. It's pretty smart, and it's something that you can do yourself. Just buy a pool noodle at the 99-cent store. I think they're out of business, or Dollar Tree, and then or Walmart, and cut it and put two pieces in the skimmer, kind of like make a jail out of the skimmer front, and then that will keep the solar skimmer from being pulled in there. I sometimes will tie a 3-inch chlorine tablet floater in front of the skimmer, and that helps prevent that from being pulled in. But I think the pool noodle is a better idea, and you kind of create a grate in front of the skimmer with two noodles, with the noodle cut in two pieces, stuffed in there so it doesn't get pulled into the skimmer, and then the solar surface cleaner will hit the noodles and bounce off kind of and float away. So that's one way to prevent it from being pulled into the skimmer. I thought the Solar Breeze was really inventive, where they had a tablet holder on the bottom where you could put rocks in there to weigh it down a little bit, and you can bring it down a little bit lower in the pool. So that was pretty nice. And of course, you can always just fill the pool up a little higher, and that way the solar cleaner will hit the coping of the pool and not be pulled into the skimmer. So you can do two different methods. You can have a little bit higher water level, or put the noodles in front that are cut, and that'll keep the solar skimmer from being pulled in there. There's a lot of other brands that have come out now on the market. You can see them if you go to Amazon. There's a bunch of these solar surface cleaners. I did review the Apier Surfer S1. I think it's a good cleaner, and that review should be dropping on YouTube pretty soon. I'm still testing it, and it does have the same problem, of course, of the other solar surface cleaners where they get pulled into the skimmer. So just be aware that that's one drawback. The other drawback is if you have a cleaner in the pool, let's say you have a corded robotic pool cleaner, the cord may get pulled into the cleaner itself, causing some problems. And also, it doesn't do a great job with automatic cleaner hoses on the surface. It'll, of course, sense them and move around them, but it won't get the full coverage of the pool. These are mainly designed for pools without a suction cleaner or pressure cleaner inside the pool at all times, and it's also not recommended to run this while you're running a corded robotic pool cleaner in the pool. Again, I thought the Solar Breeze did a pretty good job cleaning a pool, even with the automatic cleaner in there. These newer versions are okay with it, but I would say that they're actually designed to run in the pool independently from an automatic cleaner. So if you have a robotic pool cleaner, you can throw that in there and then clean the bottom, and then have this running on the surface afterwards. Or if you have a cordless robotic pool cleaner, it's probably the best combination for you with the solar surface cleaners. They just don't work, again, really well with a suction or pressure cleaner in the pool, because the hoses kind of interfere with their cleaning pattern, and they won't cross the pool completely. In a lot of cases, they'll just do part of the pool. So just be aware of that slight drawback with one of these solar surface cleaners. They are pretty robust, and they do work well, and I do like them, especially if your pool has a lot of heavy debris on the surface. You would want to invest in one of these for sure. Another device that I really speak highly of, and I really recommend this. Of course, it's something that is not going to look great in the pool. I remember putting this in a pool once, and it was a really nice pool in a beautiful backyard. And the pool had a problem with a lot of leaf debris where the suction cleaner would get clogged up every week. There was just way too much debris on the bottom of the pool for it to work effectively. And so I put this device in. It's called the Pool Skim. You can find it on Amazon or at poolskimusa.com, I think, something like that. But it's called the Pool Skim. Just Google it, and it's a device that creates a secondary skimmer. Now, if you do pool service and you've had older pools on your route, you may run into one of these pools where they have the skimmer that's not actually in the cement, but it's actually floating in the pool. And probably circa 1960 or so is when they did this to some of the pools. And you'll find that this is a really effective skimmer. It's just a pipe that's coming out of the side of the pool, and then you have the skimmer actually just floating in there with a weir. And this is for the older pools, of course. You don't see these in modern pools. But this is exactly what this device looks like. It looks like one of those old school skimmers, but it works off of a return jet. There's a few things you need to have for this to work properly. You should have more than one return jet in the pool, and the return jets need to be 1.5-inch threaded return jets where you can unscrew an eyeball fitting and then put the pool skim in to the return line. So what this does, it has a weir on top, and it actually uses the return pressure from the jet to pull the debris into a bag that's on the back of the pool skim. And it doesn't sound very effective, but it is extremely effective in a pool with heavy leaf debris on the surface. Depending on how many return jets you have, sometimes you have to restrict one return jet with a restricted eyeball. They do sell eyeball inserts with like a little pinhole in it. It'll still have some return coming out, but it restricts it. Or you may just want to remove another return and put a threaded plug in there and close off a return line to create more flow to the pool skim itself. And you'll find that the pool skim is extremely effective. Now, I mentioned it was unsightly, and I mentioned the pool that I put it in. I'll go back to that story. So I put it in this pool, a beautiful backyard, and the customer came out and was like, hey, that device is just too ugly for me. And it does kind of create an eyesore in the pool. You can take it out when there's a party. So just be aware that you're going to have this thing sticking out of the pool, making it look like a 1950 type pool. But to me, that's a minor drawback compared to how effective this product works. And it's one of those things where, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Would you rather have a pool covered in leaves or leaves on the bottom, or have a pool that has no leaf debris on top, but it has this device in one return jet, sometimes in the corner, sometimes unfortunately in the middle of the pool, but it is highly effective, and I do recommend the pool skim. Some people ask for a bigger basket or a bigger debris bag, but I think the bag comes with is large enough for most cases. And I can see the reason why you want a bigger one, because this is so effective. And it's like night and day. When you put it in, you'll be amazed when you put it in the pool with heavy debris, how effective this thing is and how clean the pool looks with the pool skim in the pool itself. What else can be done to reduce debris in the pool? I think there's two things that you can still do that's really effective, that has nothing to do with the pool equipment or adding things to the pool itself. The first thing, of course, is to make sure that the trees are trimmed in the beginning of the season before the leaves start to fall. Or the best time to trim the trees technically is in the winter when all the leaves are off the tree, because then it's a little bit cheaper with disposal and it's easier for the tree trimmers when there's not a lot of leaves on the tree itself. But you want to make sure you trim the trees maybe in the winter or the beginning of spring before the leaves start coming out on to the trees, because a lot of times the dead leaves are a big problem, and though if you have too many leaves on the tree, it'll cause problems with actual debris everywhere that can be eliminated with simple tree trimming and eliminating a lot of the overhanging trees on the pool. Of course, if a neighbor has a tree and you can't trim that tree, you have to live with it. You can technically legally trim parts of the tree over your fence, but that's kind of a gray area, and if something happens to the tree, you may be liable for your neighbor's tree at that point. So I wouldn't recommend that. I would just talk to the neighbor, having them trim their tree. But tree trimming goes a long way in reducing the debris that falls into the pool. Another thing you can do is make sure the landscaper, the gardener, doesn't blow everything into the pool. This is a big problem out there in my service area, where the gardeners kind of treat the pool as a giant trash can. It's like they just blow with the leaf blowers on full power. There is a low setting on those leaf blowers, and they can actually walk around the pool and blow all the debris off to the side on low power. So this is something that if they take the time to do, they can do. So you have to really be on top of the gardeners, especially if there's grass right next to the pool, or if there's leaf debris on the cement next to the pool. They'll just blow it right into the pool, and they're doing their job and they're cleaning off the deck, cleaning the yard. And if they leave the pool a mess, it's not really their problem. It's the pool service company's problem. So if you're the homeowner, you want to talk to the landscapers. If you're the pool professional, I recommend telling the customer to talk to the gardeners. You don't want to be involved in that. It's kind of triangulating things when you're talking to the gardener about the fact that they're blowing everything into the pool. It's better to tell the customer, let them know that all the debris is causing more chemical usage. It could cause damage to the equipment as the skimmer gets impacted with debris. And just kind of put it off as it's going to be an expense later when something breaks because of all the heavy debris that the landscapes are blowing into the pool. But those are logical things that you can do to stop a lot of debris from going in there. I found that by having the customer talk to the gardener, it really cuts down on a lot of the debris that's in the pool from when they do the landscaping of the yard. And again, simple things like turning the blower at an angle on low speed to blow as much stuff away from the pool is good. And when they trim bushes, I've run into this a lot, where they trim hedges or bushes around the pool, and all the leaves just are in the pool in big branches because they don't even skim them out. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the customer doesn't have a leaf rake at the pool. So if you do have customers on your route where there are bushes around the pool and the gardener kind of lets all the trimmings drop in there, it could just be simply they don't know where the leaf rake's at. So on occasions, I've left the leaf rake like right there on the deck for them, so they know that there's a leaf rake, and they do use it actually to clean the pool out. So that's an important factor, having a good working functioning pool pole and leaf rake for the landscapers to use when they need it. In a perfect world, of course, there'd be no trees around pools, but then you would have no shade. So I kind of see the reason why homeowners like having trees near their pool. It does make the pool look better, and it is a great way to provide shade during certain times of day. And I'm not anti-tree in any way, and I do like trees, and I do have trees around my own pool, and I have bushes around it. But there is a limit, and there is excessive amount of trees around a pool. And in some cases, if you really want to remove or eliminate a lot of the leaf debris that falls into the pool, you may have to remove a tree or trim a tree back pretty far, trim the bushes back far, because ultimately whatever's around the pool is going to end up in the pool when the wind blows. And if you can eliminate a lot of those trees around the pool, or some of the trees around the pool, that's the best way to actually prevent leaf debris in the pool. And of course, this sounds a little bit like circular logic, but if you want to have a pool with very little leaf debris, you would want to have a pool where there's not a lot of trees around it, where the leaf debris will fall into the pool. If you're looking for other podcasts I've recorded, you can find those on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. And on the banner, click on the podcast icon, and I have over 1,400 podcasts for you to listen to. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a good rest of your week, and God bless. Real quick, if you're not using pool service software, try Skimmer free for 30 days at getskimmer.com/poolguy. Again, that's getskimmer.com/poolguy. Skimmer, everything you need to run your pool service business all in one app. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro.